I'll record the meeting. I'm a Tonmeister. I studied here in Detmold, and I'm also a composer. And the project is also coordinated by Professor Hadjakos and Professor Cheniayeva from Detmold and from Odessa. If you change the language to Russian, this does not help me because I am speaking English. It will not translate. All right. First, before we get started with today's lesson, let's maybe get to know each other a little more. And first, I want to know your instruments. So please raise your hand if you are studying singing or a string instrument, or if this is your main instrument. And you can use the raise hand feature in Zoom, so we can already practice how to raise the hand for a question. Okay, I see 2 raised hands, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. 5, nice. Then you can lower your hand again. And who is playing the piano, accordion, or percussion instrument? Not so many people. 4 people, okay. Who is playing a woodwind or a brass instrument? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, okay. Who is playing picked string instrument like guitar, domra, bandura, etc.? Oh, wow, nobody. Okay, interesting. And who is conducting or composing? Okay, 2 people. Interesting that there are not so many guitar or domra players. Is there any instrument that we forgot? Anyone who plays an instrument that we did not write?
I'm sorry,
Yeah?
I didn't find raise hand button in new Zoom update. I play string instrument,
Okay, nice.
and Olha Vasilyeva play woodwind instrument.
Ah, I see.
Uh,
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Nice. Okay. Then one more question. Do you have any experience with music recording yourself? Did you already record music performances in any way? Some people. Okay, it's getting more and more and more. Okay, like 12, 11, 12 people. Nice. Did you also record yourself already? If so, raise your hand. Okay, a little less people. 9 people. 10, okay. Then have you recorded someone else? Sorry, have you been recorded by someone else? Not have you recorded someone else? So as a, for example, musician for a CD or anything. Okay, and lastly, have you recorded someone else? So you did not play, but you recorded someone else. Okay, also some people. So it seems to me like everyone has somewhat a experience with some sort of recording situation. Perfect. Um, oh yeah, one more question. Has anyone here already completed the course last year? That's also interesting. Yeah, Irina, I remember. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see some familiar faces. Okay, nice. So not too many. That's also good. So there's a lot of new people. All right. Thank you. Just a little bit about these lectures. Of course, I encourage you to turn on your camera. That's always nice for me. If you have any questions, just use the chat or raise your hand at any time. About live transcription, we already activated it, and also the recording already started, and I will upload it for you. Okay, so a little bit more about this course, what it includes, how it's structured. We have three components. The first component is the lectures. This is what basically you're experiencing right now. There are actually 8 lectures. One is missing, sorry for that. Including the last lecture, which is your project presentation, and we will go through the different steps of what you need to know for music recording as a musician. And they will just be weekly. So for the next 8 weeks, every Monday at 2 p.m., there will be a lecture to one of these topics in Zoom here. Then part of this course is also a work which is your, let's say, homework, something that you do on the side in order to already put everything that you know into use and get practical experience. We call it the virtual ensemble because I will explain to you later, but it's basically a self-organized recording project that you will do on the side, where you just complete certain tasks. And lastly, we have group meetings to talk about the virtual ensemble, to discuss your progress, to answer your questions. These are basically meetings that happen twice a week. You can come to either of them. Either you come to the ones which are Mondays after the lesson, or which are held by me, or you will come on Thursday afternoon. I sent you the time via email, which Benedict will hold. Benedict was part of the project. He also gave lectures last year. He's not here with us right now, but he basically also designed this course and he knows it and he knows the project. And so he will offer a second possibility in order to give you more flexibility with your time for this project, so you don't have not so much stress. Is there a question, Anna, or is the hand still from before? Okay, no question. I see. Yes, so these are the 3 different components, and I sent you all the dates in the timeline. And for your information, you will receive a certificate after as a proof of participation for the people from Odessa. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this project and what we call the visual ensemble. So our idea is, in order for you to practice your recording skills and your editing skills, we want you to create a visual ensemble, meaning that you will create a music video where the performances don't happen simultaneously, but each of them is recorded separately. Now, of course, this is a little artificial, but it's the best way for you to learn all the skills necessary. So your task will be to record one piece. It's only one piece. It does not have to be long, it can be 3 to 5 minutes as a virtual ensemble, but each instrument is recorded separately. You should form groups, and of course, it would be the best to form groups between the universities if possible. So that would be nice. We will share, I will share the contacts after this course. So you have the contacts of each other. But because I think the Ukrainian students, they are already organized in some other group, right? What is it? Is it a Telegram group or?
Yes, we have Telegram group.
Okay, so maybe maybe some of you can send me the link and I can forward this link to the German students so they can maybe just join the group. Maybe that's the easiest. And then you can organize yourself there.
Okay, should I send you link for Telegram?
Yeah, that would be perfect. Thank you. Or you can put it here to the chat. Yeah, exactly. So in this video, every musician plays one part, like their voice, their normal part, and then one person from the group edits and mixes the audio, and one person edits and finishes the video. So as many people as possible will be able to be involved um, in the recording and editing process. So everyone has a chance to learn about it. Really try to give as many people as possible the opportunity to also learn the technical part and not only the recording. So try to really spread the post-production work. Yes. The project needs to be finished until the day before the last lecture, the project presentation. And we will, of course, as I said, support you on the way with lectures and milestones. So this was a lot of talk, but maybe we can just have a look. I will copy this and put it to the chat, and maybe we'll just take 5 minutes to look at this video that we created some time ago as an example of how it can look like. So the link is in the chat, and we'll just take 2-3 minutes to look at the video.
Excuse me, we don't hear.
Yes, sorry. I posted the link in the chat. I didn't want to show it on my screen. Just open the
Oh,
YouTube link in the chat.
okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
And
Okay. Maybe that's enough. I think you understood the general concept and the general idea. So how did we achieve this? Well, first, before you record, you have to think about certain things. And so we will talk about how to do the virtual ensemble project step by step now, but also the content of the next lectures will be in more detail how to achieve certain steps. So, of course, before you record, you have to think about what you record, but also how you will record it. And it really is different from piece to piece. Sometimes it makes sense, for example, to record with a metronome. Sometimes it's better to record first some accompaniment part. In our case, for example, we started to record with a pianist. She just played by herself, and there was no metronome involved because they wanted to capture some musical phrasings, which you would not have been able to do with a metronome. And then the other parts, they were listening to what the pianist was playing on their headphones. So you can see the headphones here. And they were playing on top of that. And they were playing separately while listening to the parts of the pianist on the headphones. So we did this to match the timing and the intonation of the pianist. Of course, that's very important. The most important is to never record without a time reference. So either use a metronome, use a click track, or use the recording of the first person to play the other parts on top. Of course, it's also nice to think about sound and optics before. So try to match the sound between the different ensemble members, no matter where they record. Try to make a similar acoustic sound from distance, from timbre. Try to match the look, from all three of them. So in brightness, in position and framing, don't make one person super big, but the other person super small. Don't make one super bright. Maybe try to somewhat match the colors. Then after everything is recorded, one person has to collect all the recordings and mix everything together and edit everything together. So you have to get the audio from the video recordings. You have to align the clips to correct the timing. And you have to mix everything so it sounds like everyone was performing in the same room when actually they were not performing in the same room, nor were they performing together. Then the step 4 is that you have to collect now your final audio mix and put the video on top. And you have to, again, align everything in timing so everything is synchronized. The sound matches with the players. You have to adjust the videos to arrange them, to match the dramaturgy of the music. Again, all of these things we will look in greater detail in different lectures. But this is basically the general idea of how we will achieve this. And most importantly, be creative. So what you have seen is basically the minimum requirement. Record separate people, record your musicians separately, and put them just together in this like kind of Corona time style of just having different, these different boxes in the video. But you can also get more creative. And for that, you can also look at other videos. I'm just going to copy the links into the chat and you can have a look later. These are some examples that your colleagues did in the last years. I think this was from the first course, both of them. It was in 2021. And I think this was from last year or 2 years ago. I am not 100% sure. But they're all very good examples of what you can do and especially how creative you can be. And this one is a full music video, yeah? So they did the whole production of music videos. So they recorded everything in advance. They then took a room, rented a room, and then they basically did a full music video afterwards. That was very impressive. Okay. Do you have any questions so far? There was one question about the Telegram group. So if anyone can send a link to the chat, that would be perfect. Yes, Irina has a question. Yes, we cannot hear you so well.
About the participants, about the participants of our groups. So if we form a group from 3 participants from the course and from 1 student who is not
Sorry, I think your audio cut. So the
course participant.
Yeah. So I didn't hear the full question because the question it stopped in the middle.
Maybe she wants to offer to create a separate group for participants, participants from only our group. So only video recording, because we have only general group.
I see. Okay. So yeah, that would be smart to do a separate group for this project. You mean you have a group for all the
Yeah.
projects?
Yeah, exactly. So we need to create a separate group, or it's not, I don't know, essential.
I think it would be good to have a group for this course.
Okay.
I think it would be smart. So if maybe you could do that, that would be perfect.
Okay, I got.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Excuse me, I have a question. I couldn't make this question because my internet canceled. So can I repeat it?
Yes.
So I have a question about the participants of our groups. So if is it possible to take 3 participants from course and 1 participant who isn't a part of a course?
I think it would be best to try to get first everyone in this course in a group. But if everyone is in a group and then you say you want to perform a piano quartet or a piano quintet, and there's no pianists, of course you can ask someone else to play the piano part. But as I think if there are pianists here, and you should first try to get groups within this course. But I know it will not work. But yeah, so this would be my recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? All right. So about the Telegram group for this course, there will be one created, as I understand, and then maybe you can try to share it also with me, so I can send it to the students from the Detmold University. Okay. Let's continue. So this was now the more general overview about what this course will bring. Let's talk a little more about our first topic: how can we record ourselves? And this is basically the most simple way to get a good recording for us without a lot of equipment and with having video and sound already together. So the first step is to prepare the equipment. And for this, I want to explain to you a little bit about these microphones. So these were, I actually don't know if this is true anymore with the Room 212. But okay, so we bought these microphones 2 years ago in the wake of this project for the students of Odessa. We have also some of these microphones in Detmold. So if you want to use these microphones, please contact me. And they are Zoom microphones, but they are meant to be used with a smartphone. So they're called Zoom AM7 for Android and Zoom IQ7 for iOS. Now I think the Android version is currently having some issues with compatibility, so I don't know if this will work so well. Sadly, there's no new product or no news from Zoom about how to continue this. But basically what they are, they're microphones, which are somewhat more of professional grade and better than the ones that are in your smartphone. And you can just attach them to your smartphone and upgrade your microphone of your smartphone. And that's the easiest way to get a better sound out of your music recordings. So if you were to record yourself with such an Zoom microphone, this is basically what you would need. You would need a smartphone, of course, and you should make sure that the battery is fully charged. You should also have enough storage on the phone. 5 gigabytes will give you around about 1 hour of recording time. So this should be okay for several takes. Of course, you should think about power cables. It's always good to have headphones to listen back to what you recorded. And you should also have a recording application. For example, you can use the Zoom recording application, but you should also be able to use the standard recording application. It's always good to have a stand. You can use a normal music stand for your smartphone, but there are also other stands that you can use for your smartphone. Of course, maybe if you can control the lighting, etc. And I think the easiest in any of that is if you have someone who's helping you, if you have a friend who can help you with setting everything up and recording you. I think that's the best. So how would you connect this smartphone? You plug it in as illustrated, and you have to rotate the microphone in such way that there's a small arrow there. This arrow should be pointing towards your recorded subject. So you can see here, this arrow is pointing in this direction. Yes, so this is very important because it's a stereo microphone and it will record also left and right. There's also a small summary of how to use this microphone that we created 2 years ago. I will send you this via email. Everything is shortly summarized in a how-to. Then what you have to do is you have to set some settings. And I know it's always a little annoying. You want to have the solution which just works, but with audio, you have to set at least one setting. It's called the gain setting. So you see this black gain knob, it's called here. I can show you also in the picture here before. It was this small wheel here. And this one controls how loud you will record your audio. 10 is the highest level and 0 is the lowest level. And you have to find a good compromise. If you record too low, you will get a noisy recording. If you record too high, you will get distortion. Well, it's always better to have a little more noise than to have distortion. So in doubt, try to go rather to the lower setting. Here you have also 3 of these LEDs. They're level indicators, and they help you to find the right level. So the middle LED should be lighting and the loudest passages. This is a good indication. If you use the Zoom Handy Share app, you have also these indicators here. And you see that the loudest section should not be over -6. Yeah, because if you get above it, you will have the danger of having distortion. And again, distortion is worse than having a little noisier recording. So really try to avoid that. There is one more element you can control. And this is the stereo width, and you can choose basically how wide it will record or how much of the room surrounding the instrument you are recording you will record as well. So it has 3 settings, 90 degrees, which I think works well in most cases, and 120 degrees, which gives you more room sound, which might be nice if you have a nice room. And the MS is basically a special setting that works only with a handy recording app provided by Zoom. And in order for you to understand what's happening, we will get a little technical now, because you have this MS setting, and basically I want to explain to you what exactly it means. So as you have seen on this device, you have 2 microphone capsules. You have this one here, and you have another one which is below it, and it's perpendicular. And the one with the arrow on it, that's the mid capsule. So this is basically recording everything that's in front of it, and you're pointing it towards the instrument you want to record. While this microphone here, it's recording everything that is coming from left and right, but not something that is coming from the front. And in this way, you can create a stereo recording, which gives you a more natural sound than only having only one microphone capsule. So this is something that professional sound engineers use. They use stereo recordings, and this is something that you can also achieve with this microphone. For example, your phone, most phones, they only have one capsule, so they only can record mono. But with this microphone, you can record stereo, and that does have a more natural sound. And you can basically mix these 2 signals together, and the more of the side signal you are mixing together, the more room sound you have and the less direct it sounds. And as I already said, we recommend 90 degrees for the most cases, and you can switch it here on this small switch. We'll talk more about stereo and stereo recording techniques in the next lectures, but with this, you already know a little about what it is. Again, you will find also all of the details in our how-to that I will send after the lesson. But if you record, just because there will be the task for you to record already the first video until next time, here are some settings that you can already try to follow. So first, we want to record with a good video resolution, meaning how many details do we see in the video. And of course, there's always a trade-off. We think it's enough for you to record 180p, which is full HD. Again, we will talk about everything a little more in detail in the other lectures. The frame rate, we recommend to you to use 30 FPS because that's somewhat standard nowadays. On the audio side, try to use the highest quality possible. Of course, because we want to record music, we want to have the highest quality. And also the sample rate, choose the 48 kilohertz. Also, that's somewhat of a standard nowadays. We recommend you to use this Zoom Handy Share app, but again, there might be some issues with compatibility on the Android devices. So you might need to use another recording application. Do you have any questions so far recording the microphones? For the microphones? Yes.
Yeah, I have a question, Sasha. If we have already this recorder, Zoom recorder at the studio, is it the same or is it better to ask you this microphone?
So what you have at the studio is basically the same, but it's not for the smartphone. So with this, you can record audio and video together, like in this picture. And with this recorder that you have to record it separately. Yeah.
It's not a big problem as for me, but okay, I got it.
I mean, that's just the difference. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thanks.
But from the capsules, this is from the microphone quality, that's pretty much the same. Okay, then let's continue in our path. So once we prepared everything, we understood how our equipment works, we have to, of course, set up. And for this, we are usually recording in a room, which seems quite logical and quite obvious. But a room means that there's a certain acoustic to consider. And so how do we examine a room for recording? Well, the first thing you should try is to find a good spot and try to find the characteristics of the room. So you can just walk around the room, clap, sing, speak, and try to listen for the sound of the room. Try to listen for things like background noise. For example, outside of the window, there's some street. Can I close the windows? Can I try to reduce the noise? Of course, we want as little noise from the outside as possible. Then we can listen for the length of the reverb. Is it very dry room? Is it very reverberant? How's the timbre of the reverb? Is it very bass heavy? Is it very bright? How's the level of the reverb? Is there a lot of reverb? It can be short but loud. It can be quiet but long. Are there any echoes? Echoes are direct reflections that you can distinctly hear. They can be distracting. So if necessary, try to improve the acoustics, and we'll talk a little about that in a moment. But maybe let's have a listen on different acoustic environments first. So here's a link to SoundCloud, and again, I will post it, and we'll just have a listen each by ourselves. Yes, so these were just 3 different examples of how a room can sound, the different acoustics that a room can have. You heard the first one with the clear reflections, then a very long reverb, which was very bright, and lastly, a reverb which was very short and a little darker. And so these are just some examples of how a room can sound. Of course, every room sounds different. And so we might want to change the acoustics of the room. And generally, the smaller the room is, the worse the acoustics are for music. And so we try to get rid of as much reverb as possible. In bigger rooms, it can just be too much, for example, in churches. But of course, if you're in a concert hall or in a chamber music hall, the acoustics are generally very nice and you want to actually have these acoustics. So there you should maybe try to adjust them a little, but you should not try to get rid of them. So we have basically 2 possibilities to change the sound. Diffusers are what we use to get rid of echoes. So the first acoustic example that I showed you just now, while absorbers, as the name says, they absorb the sound and they try to decrease the amount of reverb. And also for this, we have a small example, and I will also again post it in the chat and we can have a short listen to that. So you can see here, Jasper, my colleague who recorded this, he basically just recorded in his room, and all he did was put in mattresses and cushions, and in this way he was able to reduce the amount of reverb and also improve the quality of the recording. So here are just some examples of what you can do if you don't have professional acoustic equipment. Usually bookshelves are more diffusers, so that if you try to make things uneven in your room, then you can have a nicer reverb without any echoes. But pillows and mattresses, they usually eat the sound, and so they reduce the reverb by themselves. Then you should also, of course, think about where you position yourself. Best is always to not be too close to the walls and also try to avoid standing exactly in the center in the symmetry, but rather try to stand a little offside. And the good microphone position is, of course, dependent on the instrument. And so there's no general rule. You always have to use your ears. So you should always try to experiment with the position a little. You can think about some aspects when you record and when you have your sound check is how does the sound quality is. For example, if you're too close with the microphone, the instrument can sound harsh and unbalanced. It means you have too much of the direct sound. But if you're too far away, you're missing clarity. It sounds indirect and roomy and it's not really transparent. So you should find a point with a microphone where these things balance, and this is the critical distance for recording instruments. Usually it's between 1 and 2 meters, and also here we have sound examples, which because of the time I will now not. I think we will listen to these examples anyhow at another point. Yeah. So, but I posted into chat, you can listen to them afterwards as well. But I have to look a little at the time. Here's some examples on one example on where you could put a microphone. So for example, on cello, we put the microphone here, like approximately 1 meter away from the instrument. If you record audio and video together, you of course don't have the full liberty. So try to find a good spot, which is not too close, not too far. Try to always show the face and the instrument and make sure that everything is illuminated well. Also, for this, we have some how-to documents that we'll send you after the lesson with a little more details. Okay, let's go to sound check and recording. So we have now found a good spot and we prepared the room and we set everything up. So first thing we want to do before we record is a sound check. So sound check is basically you do a test recording and you listen and try to identify what should be improved. And then you try to improve the setup and then you repeat everything until you're happy with the sound. And it's very crucial because only by hearing it after you play it, you can actually judge the position of the sound, of the microphone and of the camera, of course. Again, the things you should look out for, I already said. Is there distortion? That means that the noise level is too high. Is there a lot of noise? This means that the gain level is too low. And of course, the balance between direct sound and room sound. Here's also an audio example of distortion and noise, which we will listen because that's very important before you start your first recording to have an understanding of what that means. So please have a listen to the link I'm sending to the chat right now. Okay, so you can already hear that the noise was maybe not so problematic. It's more that when you have a lot of noise in every instrument, it will add up. But the distortion was very sounding disturbing. So this is why I said try to first avoid distortion and then second avoid the noise. So try to find a middle ground, but in doubt, rather use less gain because noise is not so problematic as distortion. Then after you did the sound check and you're happy with the sound, you do the recording. It's always best to announce the take numbers. And also before you start playing and after you finish playing, take some time. So for example, before you play, just in your head, count to 3, 1, 2, 3, then start. And after you finished, also count to 3, 1, 2, 3, and then let go. This way you have a little more time for editing afterwards. And with the take numbers, you can just say take 1, take 2, take 3, etc. Try to play the whole piece at least once and don't stop in the first take, especially if there's some things going wrong, because it will help you get into the flow of recording. And also try to take notes. So if you're like record take 1 and you feel like I missed this section or this note wasn't good, try to write it down before you start the next take. So it's easier for you to compare the different takes. Also, of course, always check your results, listen to it, and again, take notes because things might sound different when you play than when you hear them. Mostly you would think it's not as bad as you thought when you played it. So usually it sounds better. Yeah. And also helps you to find the things you want to improve on better and improve them before the next take, because you want to do as little takes as possible as needed and not record 5 takes and then hear all of them and be like, oh, well, I always miss this one part, so I have to do a 6th one now again. Okay, and lastly, you of course want to share your recording. You want to get it off your smartphone in this case. So it's always good to name the file something that is makes sense you know, for example, in this case, the date of recording, the composer, the piece, the movement, and which take it was. And you can use tools like Google Drive, WeTransfer, Dropbox, or WeSendIt to transfer your data. Of course, when you have Apple devices, you can also use AirDrop, but it doesn't work if you don't have Apple devices on both sides. What's not recommended is to use messengers like Telegram or WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, because they are compressing your videos, means they reduce the quality, they reduce the audio quality, they reduce the video quality, and in this way they will actually lead to you having less possibilities to edit them later. So try to always stay in the highest quality as possible, and Google Drive, WeTransfer, Dropbox, WeSendIt, they will not reduce the quality. They will offer you the file as you recorded it. There is this link. I'm just checking if it actually works. Yes, it still works. So here's the link with all the resources for this course. There should be the how-tos. There should also be the lectures in Ukrainian and in English. And so this should be give you all the information that you need. And as I said, the how-tos, there's for recording video, there's recording audio only, and for other topics that we created over the last years. So there's some additional information for you there. Okay, so let's conclude the lesson of today. We were talking about what you need to do a recording and how to use the Zoom microphones. We were talking on how to improve the acoustics and how to find the good position on where to record, as well as finding the good video perspectives, for example. And lastly, we were also talking about the whole recording workflow in general for how you would be able to record yourself. Do you have any questions? Okay, perfect. Then to talk about what's up. Oh, there's one question, yeah?
Yeah, I have a question. Why we need this other course that goes on Monday and on Thursday? It's for our group recordings for this project, or
Yes,
it's not the lecture?
I just wanted to talk about that. Exactly.
Okay.
Perfect. So as I said, we have this group project, but we will not start with the group project right away. So what I want you to do first is to record yourself. So until next week, try to find a moment and just record yourself. For example, using the Zoom microphone that I showed you, or using any other microphone. Obviously, the deadline is end of the week. And you will then just present the recording that you did, and we will discuss it with you during this next milestone. So again, these milestones, the group lessons, we will have every week starting next week. So not today, not this Thursday, but from next week. And there you will just share your practical experience with us, and we will discuss it with you, and everyone will have a listen, and everyone will learn something, how to improve their recordings. And in this way, everyone will benefit and everyone will improve on their own recordings. That's a very effective way to learn actually how to record. It's just by doing recordings and discussing them with people how to do recordings. It's like 70% of the work. So please record yourself. Just perform any piece that you anyhow are working on. Record yourself with video and audio, please. And we will then you will come next week either on Monday or on Thursday, or if you want, you can come to both. And we will not organize who will come to which meeting, and just present your recording. And we will have 2 to 3 hours per slot. And I will do the Monday part, Benedict will do the Thursday part, and just yeah, be present, present your recording, and then you will discuss. We will discuss it together. Okay, so then I think pretty much spot on. The time has come. If there are no more questions, and I will wait, we'll make a pause here. Okay, there are no more questions. Then we see each other next week, same time on Monday for the second lecture about some theoretical fundamentals, and afterwards with your first own recordings. Yeah, there's one more question.
Yeah, it's me again. Are you going to send the recording of this Zoom meeting?
Yes.
And also I need a PDF of the thing. Can you?
Of which?
What you present, your presentation in
Oh,
PDF.
I put it to the link, to the chat. It was the last link. There's a full folder with
Oh, yeah, got it.
all the
Sorry.
PDF
Yeah.
of all the lectures.
Right. Thanks.
Okay, there's one more question. The video recordings, please share during the group lessons. So during these milestones. You don't have to send it to me on Telegram. It's for everyone to share, to see together and discuss at this time. Okay, any more questions? Perfect. Then have a good week. I hope you will have great first recordings, and we see each other next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh,